The Ubuntu Studio installation differs in a few subtle ways from most of the other Ubuntu distributions, as we'll see here in this demonstration video. Like other installations, we first select the boot language for this session. And like other Ubuntu installations, we have a choice to try it or install it. In this example, we're going to install the Ubuntu Studio. Once your system has finished booting from the DVD and we've selected install, we next have to tell it what language we want the installation to be in. Remember, we can boot in one language and install in another with Ubuntu. As you may have noticed, Ubuntu Studio is not available on a CD. You have to get it on a DVD because it comes with a lot of really cool media applications. And so also it goes to follow that the required hard drive space is more than some of the other Ubuntu distributions. We require a minimum of 8.6 gig, but really, if you're going to be using this to create media files, you're going to need a lot more. And like the other Ubuntu installations, the Ubuntu Studio installer does check to make sure we have enough disk space available, also checking to make sure that we are plugged into a power source, and it checks to see if we are connected to the internet, in which case we can select to download updates while installing. And especially with Ubuntu Studio, you want to have all the codecs, so be sure to check the install third-party software before continuing. This screen is quite unique to Ubuntu Studio. Here we have a choice to select which groups of media application software we want to install. It is broken down into the categories of Ubuntu Studio Audio, Ubuntu Studio Audio plugins, Ubuntu Studio graphics such as the GIMP, Ubuntu Studio photography, Ubuntu Studio publishing, and finally Ubuntu Studio video. You can also expand the list by clicking on the small arrow next to each group, which we're not doing here. In this case, we're simply selecting to install everything. Here, probably the most important screen, which determines the disk partitioning. If you watch the Ubuntu install video clip, this should look almost identical because Ubuntu Studio is using the XFCE desktop. So some parts of the install look exactly like the XFCE install. In this case, we're choosing Erase Disk and Install Ubuntu Studio. If you want to do something more involved or try one of the options such as encrypt the new disk or use LVM, those topics are beyond the scope of this beginner's course. However, there are some other examples in the appendix which demonstrate some advanced partitioning procedures. If you were to select the Something Else option, that opens a manual disk partitioning scheme, which again is an advanced topic and covered in the appendix. In the next panel, we simply select our locale by clicking on the graphical interface of the world map. We click where we live, and that selects our time zone and location for us. Following that, we select the language and type of keyboard that we're using on the system. You can also click on the Detect Keyboard Layout button, which will open a dialog and have you press specific keys, and the installer will try to guess what type of keyboard you have. In this case, we know we have an English US keyboard, so we select that and click Continue. In this last dialog window where we have to input information, we supply our first and last name, a computer name, and we can either pick a username and a computer name or accept the name that the system proposes for us. We then must select a good, strong password. To use a good, strong password, you should have a mixture of upper and lowercase letters, also a number or two, and even a few punctuation symbols mixed in. And that's all the work we have to do. The installer does the rest for us, and we can sit back and look at the slideshow and start to learn about some of the features of Ubuntu Studio and the applications that will be installed along with it. Whatever your creativity desires are, chances are Ubuntu Studio has what you want. Whether it be graphics design, video or sound production, or any other media-related task, Ubuntu Studio and the applications that come with it are most likely able to serve your needs. As the slideshow demonstrates, some of the software applications that are installed include Blender, which is a very powerful 3D animation program, as well as several choices for video editing software. If graphic design is your thing, Blender crosses the boundaries between video and graphic design, and also you get the Inkscape scalable vector graphics editor and the GIMP image editor as well. For the digital photography buffs, the Darktable Photo Editor, the Shotwell Photo Manager, the Raw Therapy Raw Image Processor, as well as the old standard GIMP image editor are included in the full Ubuntu Studio installation. And of course, we always have the access to the Ubuntu Software Center to add even more useful applications to our Ubuntu Studio installation after the install was completed and we reboot. And of course, like the other Ubuntu distributions, Ubuntu Studio has its own community and support channels, including an IRC channel and a website. After all the files have been copied and the installation is complete, you'll be prompted to reboot your machine and remove the installation media so that it can boot from your hard drive. After it reboots, use the login credentials that you established during the installation and take some time to explore your new Ubuntu Studio desktop workstation. All of the applications are located under the one single menu. After you're done exploring, shut the machine down properly. Our work is done for now.